It's time to end austerity. It's time to fund public services, to value police and justice staff. It's time to break the cap. Because for Unison members and for a million more public service workers struggling to survive, there is no more pressing issue after years of brutality. Vicious attacks on our public services overseen by Tories at Westminster who do not care what damage they do. In the first 6 years of Tory Westminster rule, 600,000 jobs went from our public services, jobs mainly held by women. And in those 6 years, public sector pay rose by only 4.4%, and yet the cost of living soared by over 22%. And to rub salt in the wounds, the pay of the top bosses has risen in the past year alone by over 1/3, while we're expected yet to pay the price of the failure of the banks to defend our economy over 9 years ago. So while the rich feather their nests, public service workers like yourselves and the people that you represent struggle to afford the basics. The Tories, they call it prudence. The Tories call it restraint. I call it inhuman. Conference, some unions have limited aspirations. They talk about scrapping the cap. Some unions campaign for raising the cap, for some but not for others. But for us, conference, that is just not enough. What we demand is real-term pay increases for all public service workers. We know the damage that pay caps and pay cuts have led to. And every single year, it's getting worse. A poverty trap sucking in hard-working public service workers, victims of austerity, of poverty, of misery. The care worker who can't afford the bus back from work. The healthcare assistant walking home by the local food bank. The classroom assistant secretly applying for payday loans, ashamed, frightened that if her boiler packs up in the winter, her family is just a cold snap away from disaster. A quarter of Unison members, 300,000 public service workers, don't know how they would pay for unexpected expenses. More than 3/4 say they're buying less food, and 1 in 10 are saying that they're missing entire meals to feed their children. It's an outrage. And each year, it's getting harder than the last. Inflation, now 3 times the level of pay increases. Spiralling debts, impossible to repay. It's immoral, an indictment of our politicians who have failed especially to look after the pay and care for police and justice staff, NHS staff, classroom assistants, and give them the wages that they deserve. Enough is enough. But together, conference, together, united, we can win for public services and for public sector workers. And have no doubt, conference, there are those who will seek to divide us. There are those who will cherry pick their favourite services or part of their favourite service and try to buy some of us off at the expense of others, dangling a carrot in the hope that we will back down. But we have to say loud and clear, we don't want rises for those in uniform only. We want uniform pay rises for everybody. We stand together. We stand in unity. We have one plan of action. It's political action to demand real pay increases for every public servant. Yes, it's about the police officer. It's also about police staff, and it's also about probation staff. Yes, it's about nurses. It's also about care workers, social workers, ambulance workers, healthcare assistants. Yes, it's about teachers. It's also about school staff, classroom assistants, school meal staff, caretakers. All have suffered from austerity, all in membership of our union, and all deserving the pay rise that they've been denied. So what we're seeking is an end to the attacks on our jobs, an end to an attack on our services, and an end to an attack on our wages. All are deserving the support of the communities they serve and the governments who are meant to serve us and look after us. And that is why we say here at this conference today that we have got clear demands. We want to see government money made available for immediate pay rises for all police and justice workers. We want to see fair pay for everyone. So yes to police officers and prison officers getting more than a 1% pay or breaking the 1% pay cap. But that doesn't benefit our members. And to add insult to injury, their increases are unfunded. It's cynical, giving with one hand but taken away with the other, leading to more cuts for us, greater pressure on our jobs, our wages and on our services. It's cynical, praising police staffs at a time of crisis, but treating them with contempt the rest of the time. And that's why we are fighting for real pay increases for all police staffs, a fair share for everyone, not the government cherry-picking police officers. It's about the essential role police staff who work alongside them play. It's about PCSOs, crime scene investigators. It's about control room staff. It's about clerks, all giving so much, all deserving recognition, and all deserving a decent pay rise. But it's not just about pay. It's about ending an austerity agenda which has seen a quarter of all police staff jobs cut. Over 20,000 jobs gone. And with them, what do we find? A 32% increase in public order offences, a 19% increase in possession of weapons, a 13% increase in rape. Cutting jobs is cutting lives. And volunteers, they simply are not the answer. CCTV monitoring is not a game. Criminal investigation support is not a hobby. And neither is it just about pay and these job losses. It's about ending an austerity agenda, an ideological agenda, which has led to the privatisation of high-performing services both in police and in probation. Community rehabilitation centres, hostels, now being privatised, high-performing services. Not because not being able to deliver, not because our members are not trying, but because the privatisation itself is not working. Probation has become a money-making exercise, and the disgrace of high-risk hospital cover privatised, a privatised payroll service not fit for purpose. And we will fight to bring probation back into public control. And we will ensure that Labour is not just committed to saying we'll look at the issues of privatisation. What we will demand from Labour, and we will get, is a clear and positive vision for the future of probation as a local democratic service in the public sector. We will accept nothing less. And I may be biased, but I'm so proud of our union and the work that we do, the way in which we represent all of our public service workers. I'm so proud of our activists like yourselves and the things that you do for our members, just as I'm proud of our members and the services that they provide in such difficult services. And that's why it's important that Unison is seen as leading the charge against austerity and leading the fight for better conditions, for better pay and for jobs for our public service workers. And I've got to do at this stage is to thank all of you for the work that you do. I know how difficult it is. Only last week I was at our Lothian branch where I was talking to branch officials who are bringing counselling in for activists who are finding it so difficult dealing with many of the problems that you are having to deal with. And it's only on Tuesday of this week that I was in Cardiff talking at World Mental Health Day, all about the difficulties, the stress of work, the job losses, and the stress that our members are feeling throughout public services. And again, it was Unison organising that conference at the Welsh Assembly. And it's only at the weekend that I was in Scotland with a fantastic demonstration calling for better pay for public service workers in Scotland, outside of the Scottish Parliament. And the same is happening in Eastern region, and the same is happening in Yorkshire. People rallying, coming together to fight for what we know is right. And we've got to do this in unity. We've got to stand together as we move forward. And I'm not just going to stand before you and give you a narrative of everything that's wrong. What you want to know from our union is what we can do about it, what we are going to do about it. And Unison has launched a massive campaign. It's political, it's industrial, it takes priority over everything that we do. But as part of that campaign, first of all, we've signed up the TUC to their main campaign being around public service pay and getting decent pay rises for our members. We've taken that through the Labour Party conference only 2 weeks ago. We incorporated it into the Labour Party manifesto, so all that is shored up. And we're doing political action with the Tories. If you remember, there was a debate in Parliament that the cap should be scrapped, and it was only defeated by 14 votes. 7 Tories. If 7 Tories had voted the other way, their pay policy, their pay restraint policy would have ended. So what we've done is not just work on Labour, not just working with the trade unions, we're working on the Tories as well. And we wrote to 70 Tory MPs in marginal seats, and we did them a quite nice letter saying why they needed to be on our side and why public service workers could not afford another year of austerity, and surely they would be standing up for the public service workers in their communities. And in these 70 marginal seats, and Amberwood is one of them, we very, very gently pointed out that they may have a majority of 150, but we had 3,300 members in their constituency. And lo and behold, it does get them thinking about their future. At least 7 have now sought to talk to me about what they can do, which is all we need to overturn the parliamentary debate. And quite interestingly, when I did the email to our members in those constituencies, the marginals, within 24 hours, 1,000 of our members had written to their MPs about what was happening, putting pressure on the Tories in their backyard. And I've got no doubt whatsoever that we will break the cap in Parliament, that we're after more, we're after decent pay increases. It's Unison that's organised the 100,000 member petition. I don't know if people have signed it, but we achieved the 100,000 within 3 weeks. And the petitions committee of the House of Commons met only yesterday. Surprise, surprise, 3 of the MPs on that committee are Unison members, very close to me, and they have agreed that there will be a debate in Parliament on the 4th of December on the pay cap and on public service pay. We're putting the Tories on the spot. We're pushing them back, and we will break this pay policy. And on the 17th of October this month, we are lobbying Parliament, again in support of our pay claims and in support for public service workers. And as part of that, there will be a rally on Westminster Green outside the Parliament. And then we'll flow out from that to having rallies within all of our regions, just like we had in Scotland last week. We are not letting this settle. We've called in all of our regions, and Christina McNee, our Assistant General Secretary over service groups, organised a meeting only last week of all of our regions, all of our service groups, so that we act in unity as we go forward. We're not going to just have a big demonstration and then nothing happens after that. We are going to agitate, we're going to campaign, we're going to organise until we break this vicious pay policy and we get decent pay increases for all of our members. And we want paying back the money that we've lost over the last 9 years because of the failure of the banks within our society. So in ending my short address to you today, I do really want to thank all of you for what you do. I recognise the difficulties as I go around of being an activist in these troubled times. I'd like to thank Carol Nobbs and the Service Group Executive for all the work that they do and the leadership that they've shown, especially in pay negotiations with the employers over a very, very difficult period. But the message that I've got for you is that we belong to a great union. We belong to a powerful union. And where we belong to a union that is taking our agenda forward while others follow. We are the biggest union in this country. We can actually move forward together. We can actually, if we organise this properly, win the debate to end the pay cap. We can organise in a way that leads employers to have to accept that we want more than just a 1.1% increase, but we want a decent pay increase as we all move forward. We can end austerity if our ambition is great enough. We know that the people are now becoming on our side. We know that people see the damage that is being done to all of our public services, our police, our probation services, and they see the remarkable work that you actually do. So now is the time to grasp the nettle, to raise our members up, to win for our members better pay, better conditions, better security and safety at work. Britain's biggest union, delivering for police and justice members, delivering for our public services, and delivering for a better and just society that we all need within our country. So what I'd like to do is thank you all for everything that you do. As I said before, and I'm biased, we're all part of a great union, but we're great because of the work that you do, the activism that you show, and the representation that you give to our members. You are the face of our union, and without you, nothing. So thank you for listening to me today. I hope you have a great conference, and any help that you do need, get in touch, and we'll see what we can do. Thank you.